Hey, party people! Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This episode, we are joined once again by Austin Ramsay for a game of Beam Saber. Specifically, this is part 2 of our Beam Saber session. Part 1, the mission half of the game you heard about a year ago, episode 174, or you can hop back to the previous episode in the Party of One feed to hear it remastered with sound effects, music, and all that. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really proud of how that episode turned out. This is the downtime half of the game, the back half of a Beam Saber session, where our heroes are pursuing their notable projects, fleshing out their goals, and planning their next mission. Beam Saber is currently on Kickstarter. It is already funded. As of the time of me recording this intro-outro, it funded about, maybe 10 minutes ago, which is incredible. I am super, super proud of everything that they did. It's an amazing game, and I'm super, super excited that it's going to become a reality. It's very cool, and I want you to go to the show notes, and I want you to back the game on Kickstarter, because it's so freaking cool. You can find all of that information in the show notes. Before we dive in, I do want to give a shout out to Mike Fortman, our newest backer on Patreon. Thank you so much for helping to produce not just the podcasts that I create, but the games I design, the articles I publish, all of that good stuff is supported directly through the Patreon, so thank you so much for that. It is great. I appreciate it. If you'd like to do that, you can find all of that information, as well as early access to the show, behind-the-scenes stuff, all that kind of cool stuff at patreon.com/JeffStormer. With all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so excited to be joined once again by Austin Ramsay. Austin, thanks so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I am so excited to have you back on the show, because this was a game that I really, really enjoyed, and I am so stoked to be playing it again. Why don't you take a moment and let us know what we're playing this week, as well as everything else you've got going on that you want the audience to know about.
So we are returning to Beam Saber, my Forged in the Dark game about pilots and their powerful machines in a war that encompasses all aspects of life. And part of the reason we're coming back to that is because I've got a Kickstarter, which, if the timing works out, is going on right now.
It most certainly will. Check the show notes for a link to the Kickstarter.
Yes, I don't have a link at this time, but hopefully I'll have I'm going to try and get tinyurl.com/beamsaberkickstarter and to link there. So
joke's on you, that's going to link to the Party of One press kit. You slept, you snooze, you lose.
Oh no. You fiend. So yeah, that's the big thing I've got going on.
Hell yeah.
I'm super excited about it. I think since the last time we recorded, I've put out a number of games. I've actually got a full itch page going. I re-listened to our last episode because I wanted to refresh myself on where we left our characters. And I said that I just had the tiny URL for the game at the time and that it was free. The quick start guide is still available for free at tinyurl.com/beamsaber. But it's now available for sale on austin-ramsay.itch.io, where my other games are as well. I've got you played one of my other games, actually, not too long ago.
It was a great episode. We played In the Air Tonight, which was inspired by the iconic scene in Miami Vice. We played it with Alex Flanagan. It's a stupendous episode and a wonderful game.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how that game turned out, and I've got a couple others on there, a single-player horror game called Alone in the House, and a co-op / alternating co-op PvP game called Tomb of the Gods, which is about trying to defeat a shape-shifting, telepathic, immortal creature so that you can get a single wish for your group of people, but only one of you gets the wish.
That rules. I love that.
Yeah.
Extremely good.
I was informed recently that it is basically the plot of Cats.
Yes, Cats 2019, director Tom Hooper.
Yes.
I feel sorry for whoever had thought about cats enough to point that out to you, because clearly their life has been ruined. Clearly they have just been broken by having watched Cats 2019 director Tom Hooper. Whoever that could be. Whoever could be so just thoroughly just broken as a person.
Well, I don't think that Tom Hooper will do us any harm today, or at least no further harm.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your reassurance of that, because it is in the back of my mind at all times.
Tom Hooper lurking over your shoulder.
It's sort of like It Follows, except it's just it's an ever increasing mob of jellicle cats just sort of doing a dance at you. It's very upsetting.
Halfway between Thriller's music video and It Follows, I guess.
Yeah. Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so we are here for Beam Saber because what we did last time when we played it was we did a full mission starring the Party Crashers of which is the name of the squad of our characters.
A slapdash mobile cavalry unit.
Yeah. And so I was playing Kessler Drock, call sign Red Eye, and you were playing
Axel $ Mulroney.
Yeah, and so we did a mission where we were hired by Doctors Beyond Stars to escort some of their medical vehicles past a blockade run by the Cult of Earthfound into a community that had been recently damaged by some kind of attack from another faction, from the attack from the Jovangelian Empire. And so in that, your rival Terwilliger showed up and it caused us some problems, but we actually managed to get those medical vehicles to their destination without too much trouble. Well,
yeah, we actually were a well-oiled machine for being two arms dealers operating out of an American Legion Hall / hangar bay.
Yeah, it went reasonably well. And we just sort of ended it right when we finished the mission. So we did not do the mission completed stuff. So we should probably run through that quickly, I think, to show that off, and then we can get into the downtime actions.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so the first thing we do is we take a reward for our mission. Now, there's some good news and some bad news with that. The good news is that we completed the mission successfully. The bad news is that we were working for Doctors Beyond Stars, which is an independent squad.
Yep.
Which means that they don't pay.
Right, sure, of course, which is a problem in a business.
Yeah. So I sort of glossed over that the first time we played because we were just doing a one-shot and weren't expecting to get to this part. Because that is something you can negotiate when working for an independent squad, discussing their payment. So I think it would be fair to say that they gave us 2 points of payment, I think.
Okay, sure. I think that sounds fair.
Yeah, because normally you roll a number of D6s depending upon how much the employer likes you. And then that gives you a certain amount of funds. So just getting a flat 2, I think, is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing is that depending upon who you worked for, that'll give you bonus supplies. Now, since we're working for Independent Squad, we don't actually get supplies per se. We get more rep because they can't give us guns and medical supplies, but they can give us put the good word out for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then we have to decide the 2 supply points we did get. Do we want to assign them as materiel or as personnel? And materiel is supplies related to our vehicles, and personnel is supplies related to our pilots. That's the quick and dirty description of them. So what do you think?
My gut, excuse me, my gut says, my gut is leaning towards personnel, but I could be convinced to go towards material.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I feel the opposite, because, like, we had a pretty hard fight last time. I feel like we're it's probably good to have the extra, like, supplies for the mechs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm good either way. Actually, I'm looking at our character sheets, and we actually came out of it relatively well, as I think we said earlier.
Okay.
Like both as our pilots and as our vehicles. So yeah, let's put them both into materiel.
That sounds good.
And then something that wasn't in the game last time we played was drives. Now, drives are the thing your pilot wants to do to try and change the world.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something relatively small, like making sure that your pilot gets a good retirement, or you could be trying to go for something grand, like trying to make sure the Jovangelian child empress reaches adulthood. There's a pretty wide range of things that can happen. And the reason I bring it up now is because when you do something that furthers your drive during a mission, you get to add a tick to your drive clock at the end of the mission.
Okay.
Which I have updated our character sheets, actually, to have a drive section. It's just below the long-term projects box on the left side of the character sheet.
Left side of the character sheet. Wait, where did you say it was?
Below the long-term projects box.
Got it. All right, perfect. Found it.
Yeah. So, when your drives are represented by 2 4-tick clocks, and doing stuff to further them fills up a tick. And when they're full, you can spend them to do a bunch of different things. Spending a single one, you can get some like powerful mechanical effects, like negating any harm or damage, or changing a roll to a 6 even after it's been rolled, that kind of thing. If you spend 2 or more, that's when you gain narrative control of the world. And so you can,
I like that.
You can spend 2 clocks to change a single person's circumstances. You can spend 3 to change a squad's, whether it's the player's squad or an NPC squad. And if you spend 4 clocks, you can change a faction's circumstances.
Okay.
Now, of note here is that individual pilots only have 2 clocks. So if you want to change the wider world, you have to work with your squad mates and convince them that they should spend their drives on whatever your idea is.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So what do you think $sign's drive might be?
I think I was initially going to go very selfish and kind of lean towards like a good retirement, but having listened to the last episode, he's so comfortable in our base, in our armory / bar / backroom hangar. I think it's that he wants to ensure like a comfortable life for everyone that frequents that bar.
That's a good one. So for Kesser, his drive is going to be overshadow my family's business.
I like that.
Yeah, he wants to show up his folks by being better at entrepreneurship than they are. So, with that in mind, do you think that either of us did something that furthered our drive during that mission? Obviously, we weren't playing with him in mind at the time, but maybe it came up.
I do think I would make a solid argument for... I'd make a solid argument for probably both of us, honestly. I think I could see the argument for both in that, like, we took our job, we succeeded, we locked down some resources, and then we also, we earned a little bit of rep, we earned a little bit of a, the party crashers are a known quantity. Like, we did pretty well to establish both financially and sort of legendarily our organization.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. So we each get a tick in our drive clock for that.
Hell yeah.
Next up, for the end of mission stuff, is that every pilot can take a free upkeep downtime activity, but must still spend the required materiel.
Alright.
So what that means is that the upkeep downtime activity refreshes our quirks. So I only spent one quirk, my hot boosters. Did you spend any of your quirks?
I don't believe I did.
They'll be at the bottom of your character sheet.
I did spend one of my quirks.
Okay.
I spent my heavy step.
So here's a question then. We've only got one materiel point. Mm-hmm. So that means that only one of us can actually take the... Oh, no, we took 2 materiel. Mm-hmm. Right. So we can both spend 1 materiel each to roll 1d6 and refresh quirks. So we're guaranteed to get the 1 quirk we each spent. Or we could decide to skip the like baseline maintenance and save that material for something that we might want in the future, since we've only spent 1 quirk. What do you think?
I'm gonna skip spending 1 on mine. I don't think I'm that worried about my 1 quirk. I've got 3 left for next time. I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I agree. We got to be smart about our business.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to cut a little costs in maintenance of our own mechs.
I mean, and the truth is, like, going back to my drive, like, that's probably the moment that earns me that click or that tick on the clock. Is like, I probably am like, I see that, like, my mech's feet are kind of dug into the earth and like they're banged up. And I'm like, I could, but I should probably hold on to that money for later.
Yeah. I think maybe I'm a little, I spent hot boosters and I came out of that mission with burned hands. So I think I'm just sort of like warily eyeing the boosters and be like, they can wait.
Yeah, they can wait a little while.
What's the expression? Once burned, twice shy.
That's what they say.
Yeah. So then the next question is, did our mission support our patron faction? Specifically their patron faction goal. Well, here's the thing. We decided we were going to be an independent squad. Mm-hmm. Because we were like, this is going to be a one-shot, so, playing independent isn't going to affect us that much. Who cares if it's a little harder? Right, and here we are coming back and having to wallow in that decision.
You know what? That's life. That's being on the independents.
Yeah, that it is. So we don't have a patron faction, so we don't have to worry about ticking their goal up. What that would do is, if it filled that goal clock, then we would get a unique benefit that is only available if we complete those clocks.
Gotcha.
So, for example, if you complete, I believe it's the intelligence coup clock, then you get the 4D chess ability, which lets the squad spend stress so that they can rearrange clocks during a mission. So you can be like, actually, the reinforcements are actually farther away, but this other issue is more progressed now.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing is that our squad gets rep for completing the mission. So we get a baseline of 2, plus an additional 1 rep for every tier that the target was higher than us. And the target was 2 tiers higher, so we get 4 rep.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah, especially since working for independent, we already got 2 rep. So we're up to 6 rep out of 12 to increase our tier. So
all right.
Pretty good progress on improving our quality of life as a squad.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hell of a mission.
Yeah. So then the next thing is that we adjust our relationships with the other squads and with the other factions. So the first question is, did any squads benefit from our mission?
That's where I'll answer yes, for sure. I mean, Doctors Beyond Stars, like, we help them get those medical supplies to people.
Absolutely. So now that it's got one tick positive, what's a single word descriptor that represents what they think of us at this point?
Do we want to maybe go with reliable?
I think that's a good one. Because we didn't show that we were like necessarily altruistic, but we proved our mettle.
Yeah, we were unabashedly not altruistic in that Scratch caught us trying to con them out of money.
Yeah. So then the next question is, were any squads harmed by our mission?
I don't think so.
What about Terwilliger's squad? Did we?
That's true. Terwilliger squad would have absolutely been.
Yeah. So
I don't remember if we did we put Terwilliger in a squad?
We did not assign him a squad, but I think that because we described him coming in as like a bunch of fighters flying overhead with his squad, so I think assigning them to the Sword Wing as a squad, which is under the Adamant Council of Nor, I think that makes a lot of sense.
That feels right.
Yeah, so do you think... so they'll be at -1 because we interfered with what they were up to, but they'll be at an additional -1 because they have Terwilliger, your rival.
I like it.
Yeah, so what are 2 words that describe what they think of us now?
I think nuisance feels right.
Nuisance.
And what do you think for another word?
Is nuisance representative of Terwilliger's thoughts on you, or the squad's thoughts on you?
I think it's the squad's thoughts on us because like we showed up at the worst possible moment and like just to mess with their plans. Like we were a pest is really the best way to put it.
Okay, on that note, it's funny you say pest, because I was thinking that maybe Terwilliger thinks cockroaches.
Cockroaches is like, very good.
Especially since like he's tried to kill you so many times, and he just can't manage it.
Yep.
Yeah, so they think we're nuisance and cockroaches.
I love it a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's extremely good.
So now we adjust the trust of the faction that was targeted by the mission. So technically, the mission was targeting the Church of the Celestial Myriad through their Cult of Earth Found squad, because that was the squad that was running the checkpoint that we ran.
Right, yeah.
So we'll go through the questions for them. Was any important infrastructure damaged?
No, actually, we were pretty surgical.
Yeah. Was a VIP killed?
No.
Did any civilians die?
That I don't remember. Did we harm civilians?
I don't think so.
I didn't think we did either.
The only civilians on site, so to speak, was the Doctors Beyond Stars, and they got through unscathed.
Yeah.
Was there corruption exposed to their citizens?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Did any of their squads take casualties?
Oh gosh, I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
I think that because they had tanks at the checkpoint.
Right, yeah, one of their tanks I believe went up.
Yeah. So I think that applies, even if we weren't the ones who shot the tank. Yeah. So that's -1 trust. Was the mission's target high profile or well connected? I'm not sure, because that checkpoint was stopping people from going into Hollanton because it had recently suffered a massive attack by the Jovengalians. But the checkpoint itself wasn't high profile. What do you think?
I don't think so. I would say no to that.
Yeah, okay. Was the faction attacked in a region they control? Yes. Yes, that absolutely is true. That was the whole point of the mission.
Yes.
So that's another -1, putting it -2. And the last one is, did you have vendetta with one of their squads at the start of the mission?
No, we did not.
We did not. Vendetta is when you have a -3 relationship with one of the squads. So we're almost at vendetta with the Sword Wing.
Great. And also with the Cult of Earth Found. Right?
No, we have. They weren't really harmed, right? This mission, okay. So they're at a 0 relationship with us.
Got it. Okay.
But the trust is about their faction. So the squad itself, factions are sort of like the massive organizations.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So the church likes us a bit less. We're now at -1 with the churches of the Celestial Myriad because we were at 0 with them and we were at 0 relationship and 0 trust. And we just lost 2 trust, which knocks us down to -1 relationship.
Got it. Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and then our trust is at 7.
Okay.
And then once it hit, if we get the trust back up to 9, then that'll improve our relationship with them again. So we could do a mission with them in the future and then repair our relationship with them.
Okay.
So next we adjust the trust of the faction that employed the squad, but we worked for an independent squad.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically just skip this step. So we don't gain trust with anyone through this, which is like the primary way that you gain trust. Same for the step after that, which is adjusting the trust of the patron faction, because it's possible to work for one faction while being patronized by a different one.
Sure.
And that can adjust your trust, but that doesn't apply to us because we're independent. We're free spirits.
Free
agents.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the only way to live.
Yeah. So that is trust done. The next step is called entanglements. And anyone who's played Blades in the Dark knows to be nervous about this step, because this is where the war and life gets unfair for us. Because random bad things happen. So what happens is that we roll on a certain table depending upon our relationship with the faction that we just had a mission, that we just targeted with a mission.
Okay.
So we're now at -1 with the church. So we'll be rolling on table B. And we roll 3 dice minus the squad's relationship with our patron, or in our case, the faction with the highest relationship if we lack a patron. So
got it.
That would basically be any of the other factions other than the church, since we're at 0 with all of them. So, do you want to give us 3d6?
Yes, I will. A flat 3d6?
Keep the highest.
Got it. All right. That is a 6.
Okay, so
it's a 6, 5, and 5, so that is a high roll of 6.
Yeah. So that means we got the requisition entanglement. So a cohort, squad upgrade, or acquired asset is requisitioned by another squad. Give up the item, take +2 trust with that squad's patron faction, bribe the caller with personnel equal to your tier +3, or try to hide the object or fight back and lose 1 status with that squad and their faction. So what do we have on the possible chopping block? We have, as mechanized cavalry, we have a testing facility, we have a cohort, we have cavalry hardpoints, and we have the hidden nature of our base. So who might be trying to take one of those from us, and what might they be trying to take?
So the Democratic Federated Systems feels natural, as does Exodus Republic Incorporated. What we have is like a testing facility is our... If what we have is like... I feel like either of those would want a testing facility.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, saying it out loud, I really kind of feel like if it's a testing facility, having it go to Exodus feels right. Okay,
so who might try and take it from us? Maybe it's Alderman mergers and acquisitions.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, they're a corporation focused on stealing items and information with the goal to shut down enemy supply lines. Okay, so what does this look like as I think like a couple of people roll up to a a couple of new faces come into our Legion bar.
Mm-hmm. Exceedingly professional, wearing like slick back suits or black suits with like silver ties, sunglasses, the whole kit and caboodle.
Are they like a little tougher looking than your standard like bureaucrat, or are these a couple of like accounting nerds who have showed up with the forms?
Oh, I love them being accounting nerds. I love them just being flop sweat.
A couple of bureaucrats instead of a couple of mafioso.
Yeah.
All right. So they come in, and I guess they probably hold out like a contract to you, and they're like, we've heard you've got a testing facility in this here fine establishment, and if you just sign that over to us, you'll see in clause 34B that we won't be forced to come and cause any structural damage to this facility.
I sit there for a very long time. I've got my mask on. My Axel wears sort of a Destro-esque chromium face mask, so you can't really see his face. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of like blank-faced for a very long time. Looks to the left, looks to the right, looks to the shuffleboard where Morty and T-Dog are playing shuffleboard. It's like, oh, God.
I think Kessler has like positioned himself like leaning up against like a billiard table behind them, and he's got like his hand like inside of his coat reaching for a shoulder holster. He hasn't like drawn or anything, but he's definitely looking at you like, is this what are we doing here? What's the play?
I don't really want to. I don't want to murder anybody else today. I'll be honest. It's been a long day. I think I reluctantly sign over the contract.
Okay. So with that, they say, thank you for your cooperation. We'll have some people by to take the gear in a couple of hours.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. I'd offer you a drink, but you're on your way out.
They get the hint, and they leave. So we get 2 trust with Exodus Republic Incorporated.
All right.
Yeah. So if we work on that, maybe they'll like us.
Yeah, maybe we could fleece out a contract out of some corporate bigwigs.
Yeah, that could pay well, presumably.
Presumably.
Yeah, so with entanglements done, it's now time for our downtime activities.
All right.
So these are a combination of mechanical things that we do while we are between missions, like acquiring gear, repairing our vehicles, getting medical attention, relieving stress, and pursuing our own interests. So we get 2 of those each, and we can spend, because we didn't spend it to do upkeep, we can spend our materiel on certain actions to get additional downtime activities.
Okay.
So the possible downtime activities are acquire asset, which is gain temporary use of an item or set of common items, a service, a vehicle, a cohort, or various other things. We can collect, which is essentially we collect quote-unquote taxes from a region, which can potentially go bad. We can fix, which is using our technological know-how to repair any damage to our vehicles. We can pursue a long-term project, which is basically it's basically the player's way of breaking the rules.
Sure.
Yeah, you fill a clock by pursuing it in your downtime, and then maybe you get something that is outside of your pilot playbook, or you get a new upgrade for the squad, or you get a tick on your drive clock, or just whatever. Literally, the possibilities are endless.
Okay.
Actually, that's well. I always say that it's not possible. I always get asked when I say like you can do anything. People inevitably ask me, "Well, can you end the war?" And my answer is generally not with a single long-term project, but maybe with enough of them.
All right, that makes sense.
You can recover, which is healing any harm your pilot might have. You can upkeep, repairing those quirk boxes, but I think we've already decided to pass on that option.
Yep.
You can salvage, which is where we take apart a damaged vehicle for its valuables and get more supply points. I don't know if we have any damaged vehicles on us. I don't
think we do.
Yeah, we just sort of fought a distracting action and then skedaddled. We can schmooze, which is where we try and improve our relations with a faction. So if we wanted to try and patch things up with the church or further our connection to Exodus Republic Incorporated, we could do that. We could train, which gives us XP, and we could enhance, which improves our vehicle, pushing them towards getting an additional quirk, so increasing our max to 5. And the last thing is that we can cut loose, which is where we have a scene to relieve stress with each other.
I think I'm going to cut loose.
Yeah? So normally in a larger squad, if it wasn't just the two of us, you'd decide who you want to have a cut loose scene with. But kind of limited options here.
Sure.
Not that I don't love cutting loose with Axel.
I mean, he's a blast.
Yeah. Oh, and that's interesting. You only have 2 stress.
So then maybe I don't want to cut loose, because I feel like that's not that much, and that should keep me, like, I should be okay.
Not just that, but when you cut loose, if you roll over your stress, you overindulge, and there's a complication that happens that you get to pick from.
And then I think in that case I might work on a long-term project.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about?
In line with my drive, I want to turn this bar into a public-facing endeavor, as opposed to like a hangout where a few people go. I want this to be like the entertainment spot in our area. I want this to be. I have big dreams for this bar. This bar is my Cheers, and I want it to feel that way.
All right.
So I think my long-term project is installing like computerized gambling machines.
Are you going to turn this into a casino inadvertently?
At a casino area, the casino nook. We're going to have the casino nook. We're going to have the TV room. Listen. I've got a lot of plans. I got a lot of notes. If you just look at my notebooks, if you look at my data pads, you'll see some great ideas.
Kesser's definitely looking over them and is like sort of like shaking his head from side to side, like, yeah, that could work at some of the points, and seeing other ones and just like raising his eyebrows, just like, are you serious?
Robot fighting is a perfectly valid, like, that's the hot new thing.
Yeah, but we don't have the space for it.
Well, have you ever heard of backyard robot fighting?
Oh no, we're gonna get a lawsuit.
It'll be fine. Look, Republic owes us. We're fine.
Well, we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there.
Okay. So, what's this long-term project called?
Renovate the bar into an entertainment center.
So, when you start a long-term project, the GM tells you if it's going to be a 4-tick, a 6-tick, or an 8-tick clock. But we're playing the GM-less version of Beam Saber. So how many ticks do you think that might be? I'm feeling like it might be kind of in the longer end.
I was thinking it's definitely, because it's definitely a larger overhaul from where we are right now.
Yeah. So
maybe 6?
I think at least 6. So
let's go 6.
Okay. So there's a little kneaded section on the left side of the, and you can just put a 6 in there. And so now you decide one of your actions. It can be a pilot action or a vehicle action. And you figure out how are you going to use that in pursuit of your long-term project, and describe what you're going to do to make that a reality.
I'm going to use command or maybe sway. I kind of like sway. Especially, I think I'm going to use sway, and I think it is, there's like a long shot of me on the phone swirling in like a hover swivel, the hovering equivalent of a swivel chair. A lot of me on the phone, my feet on desks, I lean back a little too far, and like the repulsors, I don't just fall backwards in the chair, the repulsors kind of blast me off of the chair. But it's a lot of me like on the phone, like, listen. These are refurbished video slot machines. These are not top of the line. I'm asking for an appropriate discount to hook me up with these slot machines. I don't think that's an unreasonable ask.
Okay, so roll your sway then as you try and make a deal.
So is that going to be... remind me how many dice I'm rolling, because I have one marked in it. Is that one dice? That's 2 dice.
That's 1 die.
It's 1 die? Perfect. All right. Roll 1d6. That's a 6.
Nice. So when that gets you 3 segments in your project.
Oh, beautiful.
And you can spend personnel points to bump that up a level, which would make it a crit and get you 5 segments. But unfortunately,
I do not have any personnel.
Yeah, we went all materiel. But I mean, 3 segments is still really good.
That's halfway home.
Yeah, that's good progress. So for my first downtime activity, I'm shook, and I've got scorched hands because I used one of my abilities, Meat is Cheap, Save the Metal, to change my vehicle's damage into harm to my pilot. So I need to recover. Now, the problem is that we don't have a doctor. We don't have an NPC doctor, and neither of us has the doctor ability. So I just have to heal naturally, which isn't great, because the way that works is I will spend 1 stress as I deal with my ongoing pain, and then I roll 0 dice. And so what that means is that I roll 2d6, and I take the lower one. So let's see how I do. I get a 2.
All right, so you rolled 2 2s, so it's at least not a heartbreaking situation.
Well, unfortunately, that 1 to 3 is the worst possible result.
That's true, but it's not like you rolled a 6 on the other dice.
That is, yeah, fair. So I only get 1 tick in my recovery clock, and once that, I need to fill that up to fully heal. Basically, when you fill your healing clock, or your repair clock for your vehicle, all of your harm or damage like shifts down to 1 level. So level 3 harm becomes 2, 2 becomes 1, and 1 gets completely removed. So that's I think that's a lot of me. Like, I've got bandages on my hands, and it's a lot of me like fumbling through my day for a while, trying to make the best of it as I'm like poking at my tablet, trying to do stuff on it since I can't fully type.
Yeah.
And just being frustrated by it and getting a bit of stress from that.
Yep.
But not getting some proper treatment because apparently of all the patrons in this Legion Hall, none of them were medics.
Nope. What? I mean, T-Dog, he offered to like stitch you up, but I wouldn't trust him on it.
Yeah, I've seen him play shuffleboard.
Yeah, it's not the smoothest.
So yeah, if we had personnel points again, I could have spent those to improve the result and gotten an additional tick, but we decided to go all in on our vehicles.
Say la vie.
Yep. So what might you want to do for your second downtime activity?
Second downtime activity.
If you're not sure, I know what I want to do.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to cut loose.
Do it.
Because with that natural healing, I'm now at 5 stress, which means that my chances of overindulging are pretty slim. They're not impossible, but here's hoping that doesn't happen. Or, I mean, it always makes an interesting story when it does.
Yeah.
So how do we cut loose together? I don't want it to be just drinking, 'cause I think that's really obvious. I don't think I'm in the shape to play billiards or shuffleboard with my hands the way they are.
Do we joyride?
I think. You know what it is?
What is
I think it's actually like going over your plans for the bar.
I really enjoy that. That's very good. That's
like,
very fun.
Kind of shooting the shit over beers while we're talking through your plans, and like I'm trying to like rein you in some, but like
I like that.
Not
I
in
like that a lot.
Not in a like extremely put upon way. Just like this guy's ridiculous. I love him.
Yeah.
And
it's almost needling me, but it's you being half sensible businessman and half just seeing how much you can rile me up by telling me like you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. So with Cut Loose, we can like you have these scenes, and some players like to like get really deep into the nitty-gritty about them, and some of them like to sort of just go for the general overview of how it plays out. So I'm happy with that description.
Yeah, I think that's a good description.
Yeah, and so now I roll a number of dice equal to the strength of my connection with you, which is 2. I've got 2 connections, so I'm going to roll another 2d6. This time I'm taking the higher one. And I got a 5, which is exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
So I erase 5 stress.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Very close, no overindulging. And got a nice little fun time having beers and discussing future plans.
Yep. Big dreams. Big dreams here.
Mm-hmm.
Big dreams here in the Party Crashers.
And so what do you want to do for your last one?
I have to think about this for a moment. Because I don't need to kick back or cut loose. I don't want to necessarily want to to do another long-term project. I kind of think maybe I don't need to fix per se. I don't have any harm to recover. I think maybe I might be schmoozing. I honestly think I might be schmoozing a little bit.
So with who and what does this look like?
I think I am as the Republic, as Exodus is like coming by and taking boxes. I'm like showing them around. I'm giving them drinks. I'm like ordering around the barflies to like help them take boxes. And I imagine Kessler probably sees this and just like rolls his eyes, and I'm like, I got this. And I like rub my fingers as if, in that money way of like, I got this. It's gonna be good. It's everybody listen, drinks are on me. Let me get you around. Obviously, we'll cut it. We'll keep it light. And I gesture to Maurice behind the bar, and I'm like, do not cut it light. Do not make these drinks light.
Get them drunk.
That's the goal.
Okay. So what action are you rolling for this?
I might call this. I might call this. I think this is either still sway or maybe command.
I think that depends upon how which direction you lean in. Like, are you really sort of not quite bullying the bar patrons to help out, to like do the heavy lifting, or are you leaning more into glad handing with?
I think I'm leaning
ER?
more into. I think I'm leaning more into glad handing. I think this is sway. It's 1d6 either way, but I feel like it's definitely sway in terms of like I am putting on a show almost and like giving them the biggest smile underneath my mask that I can muster. And I got a 4.
Yeah. So with a 4, that gets us 2 more trust with Exodus Republic.
All right. Well, that undoes. Yep, that puts us up to 4, which moves us closer to having a positive relationship, which is great.
Yeah. So that's both of our downtime activities that we get for free.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can also spend supply points to get additional downtime activities. And since we have only material, that's going to limit which of those we can spend them on, obviously. Mm-hmm. So we could take an additional acquire asset, enhance, fix, salvage, or upkeep downtime activity. Obviously, we're not going to upkeep or salvage because we skipped doing the free upkeep, so we're not going to pay for it, and we don't have anything to salvage. So we could fix something if there's any damage to your vehicle. We could enhance one of our vehicles. Unfortunately, we lost our testing facility, which improves the enhanced downtime activity. Or we could try and acquire an asset for the future.
I actually would love to try and acquire an asset.
Okay, what do you think we need?
I think we need a fire. Like, I think we need a team. I think we need some added. Now, define fire team for me, because I'm thinking of it in terms of extra muscle, but it might mean people to put out a fire.
Well, it could be either of those. We already have a Rovers fire team. That came with us for being part of a mechanized cavalry squad.
Okay. So then maybe we're okay then.
Well, there are other fire teams we might want to get. Keep in mind that this is temporary. This would just be for like the next mission or through the next downtime period. So like there are adepts, which is like scribes and researchers and students, that kind of thing. There are toughs, which is like soldiers and bouncers, people who are combative outside of vehicles. There are rooks, which are like con artists and diplomats and spies. And there are lurks, if I am recalling correctly, which is like burglars and infiltrators and that sort of dealy.
We might need some toughs. Like, we might need some. I feel like having a little bit of extra muscle is never a bad thing. I know that, after having gotten caught up in a firefight last time, I kind of think maybe locking down some extra firepower is not the worst thing. So maybe locking down some foot soldiers in case things break out, and in case somebody comes for us, I want the bar to be locked down. So I would like some extra bouncers, some extra security, some extra feet on the ground.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. So we'll have to spend 1 material just to attempt it. And so, let's see, we are going to get temporary use of a cohort. So to do this, we roll the squad's tier. And unfortunately, we are tier 0. We're a bunch of nobodies right now. So that would be 2d6, taking the lowest one. And that will determine the quality of the toughs that we hire.
That's a 5 and a 6, so that's still pretty good.
Yeah, that'll be a 5.
Yeah, a hot dice today. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, so that'll be equal to our tier. So we'll get tier 0 toughs. And you can spend material to improve that result if we wanted to get tier 1 toughs.
What do you think, Kessler? Like, it's your material. I spent mine getting us some extra security.
Is there anything else that I might want that material for? Well, I don't need to fix my vehicle, so that leaves enhancing it or acquiring a different asset. I think during our cut loose section, you convinced me of the need for improved security around the Legion Hall, around the bar, especially since those Exodus Republic guys came sniffing around. So obviously, our base isn't quite as hidden as we might have thought. Actually, that is maybe something we should have taken into consideration with when we had that entanglement.
Do we want to maybe swap? I mean, we could. Do we want to say that we swap testing facility for hidden, and say that just that because they are actively sniffing around, it has put us on the map, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, that works.
Because I think that makes a lot of sense. If it's just sort of like if whatever the contract that I signed was just giving them the ability to like do business here or like manage some like interstitial operation of like, you know, we're storing some boxes here. It's all very mundane.
We've now got a private room for shady deals.
Exactly. Like we're just like, it's all very boring and we're just like, fine, do it here. Yeah. And in exchange, we're like, we should probably lock some things down because they might. This
is going to bring some riffraff to our operation.
Yeah, I didn't feel great about that one guy's flop sweat, so I'd like to have some security just in case.
Yeah, okay. So I don't mind handing over that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we get tier 1 toughs. So who are these people? Who are these toughs? Where do they come from? What's their deal?
What is their deal? I think they are a local, a very local, and by local I mean like extremely local. Like they are the friends of one of the regulars, and they are like a local militia.
May I make a suggestion?
Please. So,
what if it's a bunch of off-duty squaddies?
I like that.
Which is an independent tier 1 squad, so it matches the tier perfectly.
I like that.
Yeah. So they're basically like so the squaddies are basically like former cops.
Yeah.
So we just hire a bunch of former cops turned protection racket to be our bouncers.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm sure that'll go well and have no long-term consequences.
It works. It's fine.
Okay.
All right.
So that downtime is done. The last thing we might do that is another thing we skipped over is we can do XP for our characters.
Let's do it.
All right. Let me just pull that up. So the end of session questions. So the first thing is to check the squad's XP goals. And I think for this, for going over this XP, we'll roll in our what we did during the mission as best we can.
Okay.
So for did we execute a successful battle, delivery, or rescue operation?
Yes, we did.
That we
Damn
did.
right we did.
Did we face off against challenges above our pay grade?
I would say so.
Yeah, the Sword Wing is tier 2, and we're measly tier 0.
I'd say we punched out of our weight class a little bit.
Absolutely.
Which is actually something that specifically Axel has been saying offhandedly, like, all right, you know, I love a little bit of an unbalanced fight sometimes, but as you noticed, I think we did pretty dang well. I think we handled ourselves pretty much as well as we can.
Now, do you think we did multiple instances of that? Because when you do multiple instances of any of these in a single session, then you get 2 XP for it instead of just 1.
I'm wondering, yeah, I think we did. I mean, I think we snuck out under the nose of the Cult of Earth Lost. Unless you feel like that maybe wasn't fully facing a challenge outside of our pay grade.
No, actually, you bring up a good point. We obviously we fought Terwilliger and the Swordwing, but we also very initially were confronted with that checkpoint that we had to deal with before things got real hairy, and we were doing fine against that. And I think that if they hadn't shown up, we could have talked our way through there reasonably well.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think that's 2 more XP.
All right.
Did we bolster our squad's reputation or develop a new one? Our reputation is scrappy. I think we absolutely did that.
Hell, you goddamn right we did.
I think answering yes to that previous question guarantees that we get yes to this one.
Yep.
And did we express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the squad? I think we did that at least once with trying to improve the bar, because our drives are a bit as our individual drives are sort of interlinked, because I want to make a business that overshadows my parents, and you want to make this bar great for the patrons who come here. And so I think those together, interweaving like that, make that sort of representative of the squad's drives.
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm into that.
So that's another XP. So that leaves us 2 XP away from leveling up the squad. Do you want to just say that we got the full XP?
Yeah.
And so we can go over what it's like to level up the squad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's take the full level, because I think that'll be really good.
Okay. So that means we can either get 1 new squad ability, or we can get 2 upgrades. Are any of these speaking to you?
I mean, I do. I kind of really like Fast and Furious.
It's nice, simple, and clean.
And it really beautifully connects with how we handle ourselves in the mission.
Yeah.
We were not necessarily thinking about how we handled ourselves on the mission. We didn't necessarily scorch earth. We didn't necessarily team up and combine arms together, but we were very quick and very efficient.
Yeah. So Fast and Furious is that each PC may add +1 action rating to maneuver, manipulate, or battle, up to a max rating of 3. Yeah, so manipulate, or battle. I've already got 2 in battle and maneuver, and I've only got 1 in manipulate.
I have none in manipulate.
Where are you at with battle and maneuver?
I have 1 in each.
Ah, okay.
I kind of think I'm going to take it in battle. I think being a soldier, I feel like having a high battle is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 3 into maneuver, just lean all the way into the...
that feels right.
Yeah, the aerial maneuver type stuff. Okay. So then next is we do our pilot's goals, or
all
pilot
right.
XP. So, Axel, did you address a challenge with piloting or violence?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you do it more than once?
Yeah.
Yeah, take 2 of those 2 XP. Did you express your history, tragedy, or opening?
Yes.
Yeah, you had that encounter with Terwilliger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
made him pay is what I did. Everybody at the bar cheers as I tell that story.
And did you struggle because of your beliefs, scars, or quirks?
No, I wouldn't say I did.
That does remind me, though. I forgot a step when we cut loose. when I did the cut loose action earlier.
Yeah.
Which is that at the end of that, after healing my stress, I add one more tick to my beliefs clock with Axel, and then I write a new belief about him. What would be a new good belief about something about his schemes?
Yeah. What if you got tell me what you've got so far.
So far, I've got he's going to get someone killed. I better keep an eye on him, and his vehicle has strong emotions tied to it. Let's see. His schemes are wild, but if we work together, they'll pan out.
I love that. That's sweet. That's a very sweet belief. And for what it's worth, it's not a full listed belief on a mechanical standpoint, but I think Axel feels the same way.
All right. So yes, you didn't struggle because of your beliefs, scars, or quirks. Okay. And then we'll do my XP. Oh, how that puts you at how much XP? 3?
3 XP.
Okay. Do we want to just level up just for the sake of it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah. So when you level up your playbook, you get to pick a new ability, whether from your playbook or from one of the other playbooks. So I don't know. This version of playbooks is a bit old, but I updated it mostly. I just missed one thing.
I think I'm going to take Vigorous. I think I recover from harm a little faster.
Yeah.
I think I bounce back.
So you even get to permanently fill in one of your healing clock segments. And whenever you get healed, you take an additional die to those healing treatment rolls.
I like that.
Yeah, it's very useful.
I think you can't keep me down.
No. So then we'll do my XP, which is... Did I address a challenge with piloting or violence? We have very similar XP triggers. Yes, I did. I did a lot of piloting and a lot of ducking and weaving. So I'm going to take 2 XP for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's easy. That's an easy 2 XP.
Did I express my history, tragedy, or opening? Importer, exporters, my history, exiled from homelands, my tragedy, and avoiding people with long voyage transport jobs is my opening. I think maybe my opening a bit, because
I was gonna say maybe your history also, because we were specifically kind of hired to essentially like import supplies.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'd give you an XP for that, either for your history or your opening.
Okay, I'll take 1 XP. And did I struggle because of my beliefs, scars, or quirks? I'll let you decide whether or not this applies, but I think I might have struggled because of my boosters, my hot boosters this session.
I'd give you that for sure.
Yeah, because I purposefully, I did not try and fix them because I was burned and was wary about trying to approach them, even though I wasn't burned by the boosters themselves.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And so if I'm just gonna, I'm halfway through my playbook XP, but since we're just playing fast and loose with the XP here, what ability might I want to take? Let's see. I think I'm going to take Traveling Companion. I'm going to lean further into the sacrificing the pilot for the sake of the vehicle theme that I'm going for, because that'll let me spend stress instead of quirks when I push my vehicle.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. So then with that done, the next step for end of session, and I don't know whether or not you'll want to go through these steps, is that there's a bunch of questions here about planning the next mission.
I would actually love to do that, and then I think for time-wise, I think that's where we'll leave it. We'll set up the next mission, and then we'll pick this up again real soon.
Yeah, okay. So the first question is, are you following up on a previous mission's outcome? Do we want to do another thing about, getting into Hollanton past the checkpoints, or pursuing Terwilliger and the Swordwing, or doing some other task for the doctors?
I think Axel is pushing hard to go after Terwilliger. Like, I think Axel is I'm a little torn. Here's where I'm torn. Because we could get, like, if he's out there and he's working with the Swordwing, like, that's dangerous. A, because he's going to come after us, and I don't love that. And B, because he's a weaselly little piece of cark, and I really, really would love to just shove it in his face and take him out once and for all. Because I don't know if you know this, Kesser, I do not like him. I don't like that he showed up. I don't like that I had to hear his obnoxious little voice. I don't like that I have to continually think about him. I don't like that he's in my headspace.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his fire bombs either.
But, at the same time, that's not exactly paying the bills, and is necessarily launching an attack on the Swordwing the smartest thing to do. You're the business person. I'm leaning on you here.
Well, here's the thing. It may not pay the bills to pursue Terwilliger, but maybe we can find someone who's willing to pay for that task.
Okay. I like where your head's at. See, this is why I keep you on staff.
Keep me on maybe there's someone in the Exodus Republic that would be interested. We can sort of, or maybe here's a thought. The Cult of Earth Found had their checkpoint bombed by the Swordwing. Maybe they'd be interested in hiring us to get payback on them. That'll help repair our relationship with the church, while also ensuring that we get paid to pursue our own vendettas.
Kesser, have I told you I like you recently? Have I told you that recently? Because I like you.
Well, I'm glad that you deigned to keep me around in that case.
This is why you're on staff. Maurice, pour this man a drink.
It sounds like that little discussion there probably answered a couple of the other follow-up questions, which is, the next one is your aim to seize a squad upgrade, hurt the target, aid yourselves, or aid another squad? Sounds like we're just trying to hurt the Swordwing.
Sounds like we're trying to hurt the Swordwing.
And is there a specific area you want to target? That sounds like not necessarily. I'm
going to say no. I think we're going after Terwilliger more so than where Terwilliger is.
Yeah. Is there a specific resource you want to acquire? Again, I don't think so.
I do love those fire. Like, Axel is, again, I'm torn here. And I think there's a scene, we get a scene of Axel, like, thinking it over and, like, flashing back to taking the firebomb and going through physical therapy and just thinking and like looking at Bill's statements and saying, like, I mean, they kicked me out of it. They kicked me out because I was supposedly selling these firebombs. There's nothing wrong. Like, at this point, selling firebombs, at this point, it would just be... So I think I'm going to throw it over to Kesser again, because I want to say, like, I'm going to throw you the question of, where do you find me, like, because we've established that he's a very loose-lipped individual. Where do you find Axel, like, talking through this to himself after we kind of lock down the plan to go after Terwilliger?
Oh, you're absolutely in whatever your quote-unquote office is.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which, I don't know what that is.
It's a bunch of boxes that I have, like, built walls out of.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they're not all the same size, like, so there is, for lack of a better term, like, a window that I can lean on and, like, talk to people.
What if, like, it's 2 walls and then the third wall is your vehicle?
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, so I definitely find you there, and I hear you talking through this, and I'm like, listen, I know I know you got burned by Terwilliger and these firebombs in the past in all senses of the word.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we should take them here. Like, bringing them into our base seems like a bad idea.
Now, let me ask you a question. I ask you a question, Kesser. Is it a bad idea? And this is, again, this is why this is me not as your boss. I don't know where he got that idea, but this is me not as your boss, but as your friend. Is it a bad idea because it's a bad idea? And I kind of gesture outward very quietly, like behind some boxes. Or is it a bad idea because of them? Because if it's because of them, we can clear them out. I'm not afraid of them. But I need you to tell me point blank if it's a bad idea because it's a bad idea, or if it's a bad idea because of them.
I don't know. If we can make a turnaround on them real quick, maybe it'll be okay. If we can keep them somewhere else, maybe, I don't know, maybe we bury them in the yard and then turn them around fast. I can see the problem is I can see you're a put it on the calendar. We're gonna teach you how to lie. I want that noted because you're a bad liar, Kesser. But I respect that. But I'm gonna teach you how to lie down the road. I don't know if Axel is necessarily picking up on this, but I think the real reason that Kessler is hesitant about this is that I think he's like developing a case of pyrophobia after the last mission. I don't know if he is picking up on this. I think he is kind of in his own head, and I kind of like that we're both kind of in our own head working through this while kind of talking past the other person. Yeah. So maybe this is gonna like end up being a very much like a a target of opportunity. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think we're going after something specific. Yeah. So the next question is: are you targeting a squad weaker, stronger, or about the same as you? We know we're going after someone stronger than us. Yeah. And we also know the next question, which is: are you targeting a specific squad or faction? Absolutely. We are taking it to the Sword Wing. Yep. Okay. So, there's a couple other questions. They're about like sort of debriefing the players, going over, like checking on everyone's emotional state and seeing what people liked and didn't like about the session and what they want to see more or less of in future ones. But I know that we're coming up on time here, so we can do those off mic since they aren't too that precious for radio play. I think the last scene that I want to throw to, like, now that we've kind of got this locked down, is I think Axel, we have this conversation and Axel leans up against Romper and is like, thank you. For what? For talking me down, because I told myself that I was better than they gave me credit for. And for a moment, I was very much not. I get it. It's easy when people expect the worst of you to just give that to them if it, costs you nothing or is to your benefit. But even as mercenaries, we got to have some kind of line. You're right. No, you're right. We're mercenaries. We're not criminals. I mean, depends upon... There's a whole lot of different competing legal systems in Izia right now, so we're probably breaking somebody's law. Yeah, well, the only law that matters is the one in your heart. Kesser, write that down. Here's what we're gonna do. I want you to get on the phone. I want you to set up a call, a meeting, a hollow, whatever you got to do. You're the business person here. I want you to set up a meeting with the church. Get them on the wire. Offer our services. We'll see where we land. I'm going to have a meeting of my own. And he walks out of his makeshift office, raises his arms and says,
Squatties, gather around. We're gonna have some fun tonight. And I think that's where we leave it.
Okay, great.
And I think with that, that's our post-game session for Beam Saber. A few months late, but still very, very good.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I was admittedly a little concerned that it might not pan out with just the two of us, but hey, I guess we're both just pros.
Yeah, and I feel like we worked. I know my character a lot more now, having gone through that, which I think is really great. Like the actual like on the ground scene is great, but like this is where I got to know Axel in a way that like, and he really surprised me, which is kind of what I would want from this.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this the last time we recorded, but Kesserdrock is sort of my go-to character whenever I get a chance to PC. So I've had him across a couple of different game systems, but this particular iteration of him, I really like this direction going of like his developing pyrophobia from like he's not quite there, but he's like been wary of it after getting hit with the incendiary bomb by Terwilliger.
And given that we're going after Terwilliger next time, like I can very easily see it getting worse.
Yeah.
I like that.
Quite
really like that.
Maybe I should have not cut loose so that I could build up the stress to get a scar, and then I could make that pyrophobia and milk that for XP in the future.
I mean, we're going after the Swordwing next time. I think there will be ample opportunity for scars.
Yeah.
I really feel like we don't have anything to worry about for the purposes of scars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much. This was a delight.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. This was great. Please go back Beam Saber on Kickstarter, because I want it, and I know I'm backing it day one, so I hope you do as well. But in the meantime, where can people find you and your work online?
So I don't only do Beam Saber, I'm also the primary GM for You Don't Meet in an Inn, which is an actual play podcast about exploring obscure tabletop role-playing games with a rotating cast. So you can find us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from. And you can find the podcast and myself on Twitter at NotAnIn. That's NOTANINN.
As in, where do you meet?
Not an inn. Yeah, absolutely. And you can also find my game design work, including Beam Saber, at austin-ramsay.itch.io. I've got a number of games up there, and maybe I was going to say maybe by the time that you hear this, there'll be another one, but that's actually unlikely. I'm very focused on getting this Kickstarter ready.
I was going to say, I was like, that's bold of you to be like, all right, we're going to drop some new games here, and here, and then just the Kickstarter's going to happen. It's going to handle itself. Bold move.
No, I got to stay focused.
I appreciate that, and I respect it. So this was great. I'm really happy. So, thank you so much for doing the show again. I look forward to when we can hop in our mechs and blow some shit up together.
Sounds good.
With that said, now I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me, and thanks again to Austin for coming on the show. That game, I really want to play more Beam Saber, specifically because of how good both of these Beam Saber sessions turned out. This game rules, and I want you to go back it on Kickstarter so you can get your own copy. And then, once you've done that, and I will wait. Alright, now I want you to go follow Austin on Twitter, at NotAnIn, because Austin is great, and you should be following everything they do. Then, while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/PartyOfOnePodcast. Head to our Discord community at bit.ly/PartyOfOneDiscord. Check out our merchandise store at bit.ly/PartyOfOneMerch. And if you'd like to support the show financially, go to patreon.com/JeffStormer. Support all of the cool stuff that I make and get early access to episodes, behind the scenes stuff, works in progress, all of that kind of cool stuff is available and appreciated and supported directly through the Patreon. Another way you can support the podcast is by supporting the other podcast that I produce, All My Fantasy Children. AMFC is a tabletop-inspired storytelling, character creation, and world-building podcast powered by you. Every week, my best friend Aaron Catanasis and I take a listener-submitted prompt, we spin it into an original fantasy character, and we populate a shared universe one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday-ish at oneshotpodcast.com. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming onto the show as a guest, having your game featured as a designer, or press coverage for the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's it. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.